Hey everybody, this is Barry Mankin here with the Holistic Home Health Podcast. We're here still, or back in California, and we're here at the IEQA conference. I'm here with Dennis French, and we're doing our part 2 interview. And there's just so much good stuff, and he's just a wealth of knowledge. Thank you again for coming. You have the same clothes on as last time.
I should have changed.
As last week. So anyway, we're going to get in the weeds here a little bit, and I want to get into some of the things that we look for, that you look for. We're also going to talk about something that I learned about. All the other stuff, everybody's like, the hot topic is mold, right? And there's so many arguments, both in the professional world and in people's experiences about that, but nobody talks about some of this other stuff.
Yeah.
Which is, in some cases, like a worse problem. It just depends, right?
Right.
But it's at least blended with it.
Exactly. And traditionally, when we're talking about mold remediation, mold restoration projects, we're not only removing and disturbing mold, but we're having an impact on other building substrates during the remediation, but as well during the rebuild. And there are components that have significant health potential.
Yeah.
From that release of particulate contaminant or chemical contaminant.
Yeah. And that's such, when we talk about particulates, when somebody goes and talks about air quality, usually somebody's coming in and maybe they'll have a particulate counter, and we're just measuring what we call the dust. But there are so many categories and subcategories of what is on something that's this small, that we define, right? Especially this guy. He defines it better than anybody. And so I learned so much. We had a class on silica.
Silica yesterday, yeah.
I mean, just holy cats. I mean, I knew, but the way you describe it, we just think of it as inert matter, right? Because of a lack of education, So when we're not seeing anything that's biofilm related, we're usually thinking allergens and viral content, bacterial content. That's usually, what we're talking about. But there's a whole other host of things. We get into microplastics, we get into silica, and then, of course, the asbestos and lead, everybody knows.
Yep.
Smoke,
But these are all particles.
Carbon, it's all particles. That's right.
So yeah, you may have your laser particle counter with you,
Right.
and it may be reading high, it might be reading low, but what is the particle made of?
Yeah. I always tell people, like, from a mold, I mean, the first path is concentration.
Yeah.
Right. Both are bad, like, sometimes. So, but from a type, we don't think about that with anything outside of the mold.
No.
We just don't.
No.
So tell me about, whenever we're talking about this subject, all the other things aside, silica specific, how wide of a problem is? I think you described it as the new asbestos. That's a bold claim.
Yet it's been regulated for years, but we're only just starting to really talk about it now. It's had TLV, threshold limit values, personal exposure limit values, for decades.
Wow.
But like a lot of things, we never correlated it to residential construction, commercial construction. It was always thought of as an industrial thing. It's, manufacturing or cutting of concrete, for example,
Right.
which has lots of quartz in it.
Right.
And quartz, silica itself and silicon oxides are the most common substance on Earth.
Right. And you said there's three categories. Did you use them or is that how you described it in the class?
Yeah. So basically, silica is broken down into 3 components.
Okay.
Quartz, which is
right.
like sand.
Yeah.
And then there's cristabalite and tridymite. Now, those are the silica fractions that have been altered through heat.
Okay.
Friction.
Yeah.
Sanding, polishing.
Gotcha.
Heat, as in flame, will change quartz into these other compounds, which have a bigger health risk than the quartz itself.
Wow.
So there's different types of silica risk. The most common is going to be your standard quartz. But in a residential and commercial application, a lot of times we just don't really think about it too much. We think of concrete work. So people are cutting up landscaping stones or cutting up their driveway, etc. And you see this big plume of smoke or a big plume of dust coming off your saw because we didn't use wet saws all the time.
Yeah.
Or I'm just cutting one. I'm just doing one brick. That's the reality. Or dry drilling. If you're drilling into masonry or you're drilling into cinder block walls because you need to core a hole through the wall for running a conduit or something to that effect. So those are concrete type things. Now, once you actually step inside the building envelope, does it have cementitious stucco on it? Well, we're doing a retrofit. We need to make different size window openings or different door openings. And you take an angle grinder to that. Now you're releasing that dust plume.
You get it on the demo.
Yeah.
And you get it on the putback.
Yeah. On the interior side, well, how many of us have tiled floors? Okay, the tile, there's likely a high component of some of that quartz component to it, whether it's raw rock, like granite, marble, etc. There's silica in there.
Right.
If it's a manufactured product, usually like your quartz countertops, they're basically sand and resin. Yeah. Well, it comes to the house virtually finished, but a lot of times, they still got to cut the hole for the faucet. And some people will do a wet cut. Some might have a vacuum, hoping that's a HEPA vacuum that they're using. Because if it's a shop vac or a conventional non-HEPA vacuum, the issue with silica is the fine particles, the respirable particles, 0.5 micron and in that range. The large particles, they fall out of the air pretty quickly, or even if you breathe them in, these large particles have a tendency to get caught in our nose, caught in our saliva. We
expel it.
We cough, we blow our nose, and it goes out.
Right.
It's the fine respirable particles. And we talk about respirable particles when we're talking about asbestos, because these fine particles get down into the heart of the lungs, called the alveoli sac, and ultimately it forms scar tissue, which essentially kills the lung function for oxygen transfer. And now you start getting...
Well, it kills the cells too, right? I mean, the cells, and then that becomes
cancerous.
Big C.
Yeah. Yep. Silicosis is essentially an incurable disease.
Yeah, man.
So we have asbestosis, we have silicosis. Same basic family of issues. We've also seen in some of the documents that if you're cutting concrete and not all the Portland cement, the binder that holds cement together, hasn't been fully activated when the initial mixing was happening, those Portland cement components can become airborne and get back down in the heart of the lungs. And now you add moisture from your lung tissue is wet, high moisture content, and it actually reactivates or activates the Portland cement, which actually can make your lungs like rock hard. So that's in things like quartz countertops, it's in floor tiles, it's in grout, it's in mortar.
Right.
And the big kicker that a lot of people don't even really relate to is drywall joint compound. Yeah.
Right.
It's, if you look at the product data sheet for the mud you're using, it will have a high likelihood that the data sheet will say it contains silica. And there's some different parts of the world regulate things a little differently, but some jurisdictions will actually say that if the concentration is less than 1%, they don't even have to call it silica containing.
Oh, wow.
But it doesn't mean it's not there. Now, how do we finish that stuff?
Right.
We sand it off.
Yeah, exactly. Which increases your percentage of exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's a big issue in the construction world.
Yeah.
And that's also on demo.
Yeah, you get it coming and going.
Yeah, you get it. Because how are you removing the tiles off the floor? Are you hand scraping? That's probably a little bit less of a concern. But are you using mechanical removal to get that last bit of grout mortar off the floor or wall?
You're grinding it.
Yeah,
every
it's
time.
Throwing it in the air, and that's now a respirable particle. So the bigger issue becomes particle sizing. This is the same conversation we have around mold.
Yep.
Particle sizing. A Stachybotrys spore is like 20 microns in size. It doesn't float through the air very far.
No.
Which is why it's really hard to see it in an air sample. If you see it in an air sample,
Yeah.
you probably got a fair amount of it.
But and you got a source somewhere.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Even the silica fractions and the general construction dust, the bigger particles, they fall out of suspension very quickly. It's the light, small particles, the 2.5 and under stuff, that stays airborne for a long time.
Blood-brain barrier, direct effects to cognitive function, and
lung especially function. These 0.5 micron and smaller particles, the ultrafine particles, they will cross blood-brain barrier.
Yeah.
Now it's no longer just in the lungs. Now it's other organs.
Yeah.
Negatively impacting the blood.
Absolutely. And we only think of like, oh, okay, well, if my lungs are bad. No. That travels throughout the body. And those dead cells become foreign objects that the body fights. Then you get mast cell activation, right? Then the body starts fighting its own stuff.
Fighting itself.
Because it doesn't know the difference, and the cells get confused. And this is where, when people are dealing with chronic health effects, and they have maybe a one-time event, or again, the toxic load builds up, or they don't even know. It may not even be mold, because we always attribute to microbial. But guys that have been in construction their whole life, or just a certain discipline, and they just done a lot of exposure and didn't have proper PPE, that builds up over time. And then it's like, well, how did so-and-so get cancer? He didn't smoke. Lung cancer. Or, how did this... And there's so many different ways.
It could be a particulate exposure. It could be a chemical exposure.
Right.
It could be a toxin exposure in some other variety.
But everything's going to kill you.
They all start adding up. Now you get additive effects and synergistic effects.
Yep.
So those that are unfamiliar with the term synergistic effect, 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2.
No.
1 + 1 might equal 3. It might equal 11. It could be 22. It depends on how this chemical or this particle interacts with something else to create a much worse scenario.
You get instability. Nothing. They don't play well with each other. And that's a whole other... I mean, there's just so many elements that we have to think of. And again, you guys do it better, like at your level, better than anybody else, because having that level of knowledge and using that scenario and putting it through the filter of all those scenarios, like you're thinking, okay, how many things can affect this one person or this one situation? And depending on how much they want to know, right?
Even
I got an app for that.
Yeah. And silica, even we'll talk about silica. We can talk about wildfire smoke.
Well, that's your fault.
Yeah.
It's your fault. You guys are giving us the wildfires. That's what I learned in the last class.
Yeah. Well, Canada, we've had our fair share for sure.
Right.
But when you just start talking about these things, so the wildfire ripping through a community burns all these materials.
Yep.
Burns them into ultrafine particles. Throws them into suspension, and they travel on the winds for hundreds and thousands of miles.
Right.
So a fire in northern Canada can affect Florida, and that's 5,000
and we have
away.
the data to support that. In the class that I took, oh my God, and because they were tracking it.
They were tracking it.
And it was unbelievable. I mean, you just saw the hot spots on the graph to see this specific fire went here, and here. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and contained in that is soot, ash, char, silica. Riding on the particles are other chemicals. So whether it's formaldehyde or the list is this long of chemicals that come from a fire. And depending on what the fire happens to be, whether it's a brush fire, whether it's a grass fire, whether it's trees, logs, depending which type of tree. And then it jumps into the urban transition zone. Now you start burning a house. Well, what was in the house? Was it lead paint containing? Was it asbestos containing? What? It's got PCBs. It's got pool chemicals. It's got whatever else. That's all up in the air too.
Yep. And we're slowly filtering everything that we're exposed to, like us
as the people.
And we just build up just like any filter. Yep. Yeah. So when we talk about prevention, other than source, which is like, obviously we want to mitigate any of those events as quickly as possible. And But on our end, what are like some things that we can do from a PPE standpoint that, I mean, we all kind of generally know it's like, oh, you wear, make the N95. When they told us that with COVID too, and I was like, well,
Well, was it actually properly fit tested and the whole 9 yards? And you got facial hair, which pretty much negates that.
right.
It will protect me from use.
If I'm sneezing, yeah.
But the small particles are going right around. So it's fit testing, it's proper selection of PPE. From the construction world, really everyone should be wearing body protection, Tyvek suits, that type of thing, so they can leave that contamination at the job site. Don't bring it home into your car, don't bring it back to your office, etc. Respiratory protection, well, the proper use and selection of respirators, and all the respirator manufacturers have catalogs or selection criteria charts. You have to know what you're being exposed to, though.
Right.
So an N95 respirator, I could be wrong, but I don't know of any N95 manufacturer that says that particle mask or dust mask is actually rated for silica exposure.
Right.
It will stop the 10 and 20 micron particle, but it's not going to stop the respirable particle, which is where the health risk comes in.
Right.
Now you're talking about P100 half mask or full face or supplied air hoods, depending on what you happen to be doing.
Either way, we need to step up our game.
Yeah, we need to step up our game. And now if you're introducing chemicals into this as well, is it an organic vapor? Is it a VOC? So now you're talking stack filters.
Yeah.
So
carbon.
P100 organic vapor.
Yeah.
Is there some sort of acidity to it? Again, post-wildfire cleanup, there's a lot of acid gases in these debris fields. So now you're talking a triple stack, OVAG P100. Oh,
gosh. Yeah.
Like, it changes based on what the risk is, what the exposure criteria, what you might be exposed to.
Right. Right.
And you have to select, and again, any manufacturer that you use a respirator for has that mechanism.
Right.
And that respirator needs to be properly fit tested. It's not just walking up to the shelf and buying a mask at your local hardware store.
Right.
It needs to either be qualitatively or quantitatively fit tested.
Yep.
Whether that's with irritant smoke or a particle counting device.
Yep.
There are a few different manufacturers of those devices. So,
and you take care of it as if that's your life. I mean, think of what tree climbers do with the rope. Like, if they're hanging from a rope, that rope is their best friend.
I have taken a brand new respirator out of the box, and missing out of the box was the exhale valves. The rubber seals were not on the respirator. That's brand new.
Wow.
And do you know how to do your positive negative pressure checks when you put your mask on every time?
Right.
Every time you put that mask on, you do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't just re-clip it the same way you had it 25 minutes ago because you had a lunch break.
Correct.
You need to redo the positive negative pressure check every time.
Well, and what drives that? Time and money. Yep. Time and money is where we compromise health every time, whether it's on the building industry side or whether it's on the individual workers. Yep. Because they get more incentivized when they're hustling. But when you have to stop and be that attentive or that intentional, it's slows things down. But overall productiveness, I mean, which is what you're doing now, the quality of life. Yeah. And performance. I mean, really, if I understand it right, your model that you're offering different companies, whenever you're assessing and evaluating their whole model, is to say, how do you get more overall quality of life out of each one of your employees and the people that you're serving, so that the whole process is holistically performing, if you will.
So if we take the productivity model as a basis for what I'm just about to talk about, in an office space, productive worker is one that's deemed to be happy in their environment. Productivity is based on 2 productive hours a day.
Yeah.
Well, if the building has poor lighting, poor air quality, poor thermal control, heating, cooling, noise, these are negative detractors from their experience in that environment.
Yeah.
And their productivity drops significantly.
Yeah.
But if you can take these necessary steps to improve their experience within the space, and that can apply to the space we live in too. Actually, if we get an unhealthy house, you're not going to be the best person you can be for your kids, for yourself, for
Same
your
principles.
family,
Yep.
or for your work. Because work can have good air quality and good situation, but your home is your challenge, and
right.
Home is supposed to be your safe haven.
Yeah. Right.
So when you look at things like this, it brings about the potential for greatly improving your interaction within these spaces that we occupy on a day-to-day basis. And again, PPE is only one of those things from a construction and restoration side of things. So you're not going to be sitting in your house with a P100 mask on.
No.
But again, understanding, when was the last time the ventilation system was cleaned? How did they clean it?
Yeah, right. Yeah. How
did they do the cold air returns as well?
Blower motors.
Your return system is a big source of contamination because it's a low velocity plenum, essentially. It's not a ducted plenum. It's usually just sandwiched between wall boards or between floor joists, etc.
Right.
And particles fall out of suspension, and any movement in the house, any activity, it will shed particles. Quite routinely.
Yep.
What's on the particle? Is it a chemical contaminant? Is it biofilm from your poorly maintained and poorly serviced AC drain pan? Is it whatever the case may be?
Yeah.
Where's your outdoor air intake? I won't call it fresh air intake, but where's your outdoor air intake for your building?
Yeah.
Is it right where I store my compost and my yard waste? Or is it right beside the garage? Or is it on the roof right beside the sewer vent? These are design functions.
Correct.
But we see these issues all the time, residentially and commercially, where, we just had to put the duct somewhere and it only fit here.
Yeah. Again, energy, path of least resistance, right?
Yeah.
And it falls suit in every aspect of life. But when it's in our life, the direct effect of that is his health. At the end of the day, it's just trickling down to, okay, what's the equal and opposite reaction to doing something poorly or without intention or without the knowledge base, and then we suffer from it in so many ways.
I would hope that these negative things are not done with malice and ill intent,
right?
But it's generally just a lack of understanding. And I think if we could get all sectors within construction, restoration, engineering, architecture, etc., more in tune with building sciences and the integration of health into that realm, we'll be far better off as a society.
Amen. I hear that. Yeah. Well, I this is again a wealth of knowledge, and I really appreciate. This is great, and I hope you guys are learning a lot. We're talking the big picture stuff as well as getting in the weeds on specifics here on certain issues. But some people may be overwhelmed by this. But what I'm going to encourage you to do is take the knowledge and apply what you can, and trust people in the industry that know what they're doing, or at least that are living this out, so that they can help you with a process. And don't be reactive, be intentional. And if you do that with a good knowledge base and a good network of people around you, you'll have a healthier environment and you'll be a happy person. Yep. So that's the idea, right?
Very much so, yep.
Thank you so much, Dennis.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you.
All right. Be safe out there, kids.